Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayaudiraya. Nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttam shloke bhaktir bhavatir naishtiki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Prem Kishore Prabhu, is the recording going on, or do you want me to start the recording?
I already initiated YouTube.
It's already there. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are hopefully in the concluding verses of 6-9. Appearances of demon of the demon Vritrasur. So we're kind of in the middle of the prayers by the demigods, right? So these are the prayers by the devas to Lord Vishnu when they witnessed Vritrasur. And their initial attack, Vritrasur completely annihilated their weapons. And just the size of Vritrasur, the devas were terrified. So they go to the Lord, and in the mood of devotees, before asking for anything, they render prayers glorifying the Lord, which is what these prayers are about. So we are resuming a discussion from verse 40. So in the preceding verses of the prayers was a fairly exhaustive glorification of the Lord. And they talk about his being completely spiritual. They talk about his commitment to protect his devotees. They talk about him being the cause of all causes, of everybody fearing him. So after sufficient glorification, from this verse onwards, they are now going to actually place the request before the Lord. So these verses are in prose, so I'll simply read the translation. O Lord, O personified three worlds, Father of the three worlds, O strength of the three worlds, in the form of the Vaman incarnation, O three-eyed form of Narsimadev, O most beautiful person within the three worlds, everything and everyone, including human beings and even the Daityas, demons, and the Danavas, is but expansion of your energy, O supremely powerful one. You have always appeared in your forms as the various incarnations to punish the demons as soon as they become very powerful. You appear as Lord Vamandev, Lord Ram, and Lord Krishna. You sometimes appear as an animal like Lord Boar, sometimes a mixed incarnation like Lord Narasimhadev and Lord Hayagriva, and sometimes like an aquatic like Lord Fish and Lord Tortoise. Assuming such various forms, you have always punished the demons and the Danavas. We therefore pray that your Lordship appear today as another incarnation, if you so desire to kill the great demon, Vritrasur. Yeah. So, this is the demons asked from the Lord. Now, one thing you do see over here, and I'm not sure if there is a philosophical basis of it, but we do see that the devas are glorifying the Lord's Trayarup, the three form. Right? They call him the Tribhuvanatma, right? The Lord of the three worlds. They call him Trivikrma. So Trivikrma is Vamandev, who in 3 steps, or actually in 2 steps, he measured the entire universe. They call him Trinayana. So Trinayana means 3 eyes. The maintainer and the seer of the 3 worlds. Then he is called Trimanohar Anubhava. That he is perceived as Manohar. Manohar means someone who attracts the mind. Anubhav means experientially attracts the minds in 3 loka, in all the 3 worlds. So these are the explicit 3 folds that the devas are speaking about. And there is also the implicit 3 folds that come. So they talk about Lord Ram, Lord Vamandev, and Lord Krishna, right? 3 incarnations. Well, Krishna is original, but 3 forms of the Lord. So sometimes it's, even though this is prose, but there is some there is some amount of poetic license in when the devas speak. So it's, at one point it is said that the sign of a person who's advanced or who's intelligent is their ability to speak in poetry, is their ability to speak in metaphors, is the ability for indirection. So at one point it is said that the Vedas speak in with metaphors and indirection, and such kind of speech pleases the Lord. It's a sign of intelligence. So we see that in this verse. But the message is that they're asking the Lord to kill Vratrasur. So now the Lord might say that so far you have been glorifying me as transcendental to matter. Now you're asking me to kill Vratrasur, which is coming from material duality. So devas have dvesh. So this whole rag and desh is material duality. And if I do what you say, then I'm also subscribing to the material duality. So the devas are like expert lawyers. They're making this case, right? So in a court of law, one of the most compelling arguments is precedence. So the lawyers will basically give past instances that in the past case of this versus this was the judgment. So they will draw parallels between these cases in the past and establish their claim based on precedence. This is what the devas are doing, right? So they give 7 instances when the Lord came specifically for uh, 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 for this purpose. Now, to be fair, these instances are not given by the Lord in the verse, right? They are extrapolated by Srila Prabhupada, right? So when Srila Prabhupada says Krishna Vara, Hayagriv, Nrsimha, Matsya, Kurma, you won't see these words in the Sanskrit, right? But as followers of Prabhupada, we understand that his words are also at the same level, because he understands the mood behind which the Bhagavatam has been spoken, and he simply expands on it. Right? So the 7 instances that Prabhupada gives: Nrsimhadev, Vamandev, Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, Hayagriv, Matsya, and Kurma. So the Lord might now say, so this is Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in his famous style of presenting the inner workings of a verse through conversations. So the Deva says, kill Vritrasur. And the Lord says that you're asking me to act on a platform of material duality. So the Devas say, perhaps, but you have acted so in the past. So many incarnations you have come in, and you have actually killed the Asuras on the same platform. So now the Lord says that, but clearly you're worshipping me to inflict violence on others. Right. So the material existence is Tribhuvanatma Bhavan. So Bhavan means a house, Tribhuvanatma means three worlds. So the material existence is the shelter of three worlds. Now, strictly speaking, there are 14 worlds. Right? They're described in the fifth canto of the Bhagavatam. But for the purpose of this discussion, Om Bhurva Bhavaswa, right? The three worlds, the three middle planetary systems are being uh, uh, discussed. So the Devas are invoking this Tribhuvanatma Bhavan by indicating that while the Asuras are also the Vibhutis of the Lord, their activities are placing this Bhavan, this house that the Lord makes, in danger. So it's not that the Lord has anything personal against Vritrasur, but he's going against the balance of creation. Right? And actually, that is why the Lord comes, because it's factual that the Lord comes and kills the Asuras, but it's not because he has something personal against them, but because they're upsetting the balance of the universe. So that's what the Devas are saying. Prabhupada has a very nice purport. He says that he calls the Devas as Sakam Bhaktas. And Sakam Bhaktas are those who are devotees, but also with material desires. Devotees like us. Right? So now the Devas are also Sakam Bhaktas, but much, much more exalted than us. But they also are Kama Mishra Bhaktas. So Prabhupada says that the Sakam devotees are sometimes disturbed by the demons and Rakshasas. But the Lord is so kind that he always saves them by appearing as an incarnation. Then Prabhupada says the difference between Sakam and Akam devotees is that when the Sakam devotees, like the Devas, fall into difficulty, they approach the Lord for relief. Whereas Akam devotees, even in the greatest danger, never disturb the Lord for material benefits. Even if an Akam devotee is suffering, he thinks it is due to his past impious activities. And so Prabhupada makes the difference between Sakam and Akam. Now we do see in Vraj Leela where the Vrajvasis, they run to Krishna for relief when there is a distress. But we also understand that they are beyond Akam. Right? So they understand that this is something that pleases Krishna. They're taking shelter of Krishna. So they have only one concept in mind: to do anything and everything to please Krishna. Because I was listening to one lecture, and the point was made there that the demons that Kamsa sent to Vrindavan, anyone in Vrindavan could have destroyed them, because these are spiritually emancipated souls. They are full of the 50 vibhutis, right? So they are even beyond Brahma. So any one of them could have destroyed them with a mere sankalp. No need to fight with Kaliya, no need to go inside the mouth of Agasur and expand. Even it says even the blade of grass or the cows could have destroyed the demons, right? We see that example when Shankachur. This was when Shankachur is Sridama in the spiritual world, and when he descends, he is so powerful that Durga Devi, Lord Shiv, everybody combines, and he's just casually annihilating them all, right? And he's actually in the material world with the so-called curse of Srimati Radharani. But the residents of Vrindavan were Nitya Siddhas, most of them. So any one of them could have killed the demon. Any one of them could have subdued Indra. But they understood that this is what makes the Lord happy, right? So akam means not to be completely without desires, but to be without material desires. Right? That's what bhakti is, right? That anabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam, right? For a practicing devotee, so Srila Prabhupada makes this point that when a practicing devotee reaches the calm state, even if they face material tribulations, they tolerate it, just assuming that this is because of their past sinful activities. Prabhupada quotes the famous verse by Lord Brahma in 10:14, Tatenukampam sumikshamano vunjanevatma kritam vivakam hidavag vipurbi vidhan namaste jiveta yumukti padesa dhayabak. Tatenukampam sumikshamano, that one who simply tolerates all the difficulties. Hidavag vipurbu vidhan namaste. Namaste means constantly playing obeisance to the Lord, not for relief, but undisturbed by all this, patiently waiting. Jiveta mukti, mukti paths daya bhag, right? So then it said that for such a person, liberation becomes their right. Okay, let's go to the next verse, which is also in prose. O Supreme Protector, O Grandfather, O Supreme Pure, O Lord, we are all surrendered souls at your lotus feet. Indeed, our minds are bound to your lotus feet in meditation by chains of love. Now, please manifest your incarnation, accepting us as your eternal servants and devotees. Be pleased with us and sympathetic towards us. By a love filled glance, with its cool and pleasing smile of sympathy, and by the sweet nectarian words emanating from your beautiful place, free us from this anxiety caused by Vritrasur, who always paints the cores of the hearts. So, uh, so the devas, they're glorifying the Lord with the view of getting the Lord to serve them. Right? So in the previous verse, they had implicitly minimized themselves as materialistic devotees. Right? So they clearly said that we want you to do this service for us, which is kill Vitrasur. However, they're saying that they're not just Prakrit Bhaktas, but they also have the desire for advancing in the bhakti. Right? So that is why they are making this claim that our minds are bound to your lotus feet in meditation by chains of love. Right? So they are not making false claims over here. When you're talking to the personality of Godhead, there is no point in making false claims because the Lord knows everything. So the devas are frankly speaking everything. And they're accepting the fact that they're Sakam Bhaktas. They're accepting the fact that they're going to the Lord, expecting the Lord to serve them. But they're also reinforcing their own position that we are your your devotees. So they ask for three things in this verse. First, they say is that accepting us as your eternal servants and devotees, be pleased with us and sympathetic towards us. Right. So here they're asking for the uh, so they're not asking for a specific service here, but they're asking for a favorable intent from the Lord. That let your intent be favorable. Then the second thing they ask is that by your love-filled glance, with its cool and pleasing smile of sympathy, and by the sweet nectarian words emanating from your beautiful face, free us from the anxiety caused by Vritra Sur, who always pains the course of our heart. Right now, initially they were asking for intent, then they were asking for action. What is the action they are asking for? That please come and kill Vritrasur. Third thing they are saying is now manifest your incarnation. Right. So this is the result they're asking for. Right. So intent is be sympathetic towards us. Action is that. I'm sorry. The second was the result, and the third was the action. The action that they are asking for is that please manifest your incarnation, and the result that they are asking for is what is it they're ultimately asking the Lord to deliver for them is kill Vritrasur. Right, and then they have this also that continue to stay sympathetic towards us, cool and pleasing smile of sympathy, etc. Right, so there was a specific intent that you be sympathetic towards us, action manifest as your incarnation, result kill Vritrasur and free us of the anxiety. Verse 42. O Lord, as the small sparks of a fire cannot possibly perform the actions of the whole fire, we, sparks of your Lordship, cannot inform you of the necessities of our lives. You are the complete whole. Therefore, of what do we need to inform you? You know everything because you are the original cause of the cosmic manifestation, the maintainer and annihilator of the entire universal creation. You always engage in your pastimes with your spiritual and material energies. For you are the controller of all these varied energies. You exist within all living entities, within the cosmic manifestation and also beyond. You exist internally as Parabrahman and externally as the ingredients of the material creation. Therefore, although manifested in various stages, at different times and places, and in various bodies, you, the personality of Godhead, are the original cause of all causes. Indeed, you are the original element. You are the witness of all activities. But because you are as great as the sky, you are never touched by any one of them. You are the witness of everything as Parabrahman and Paramatma. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, nothing is unknown to you. So these are the devas kind of putting a final bow on their ask, right? So they glorified the Lord, they praised the request, and now they are uh, uh, winding up their prayers, again summarizing. They're glorifying the Lord and again putting in their ask, right? So in this verse, the Devas glorified the Lord in the three manifestations of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Right? And we won't go into the distinctions because all of us have read about it in the past and are familiar with the three manifestations. Then what else they say? They say that you control both matter and spirit. How is the Lord able to control matter? Because he's beyond the modes. And because he's beyond the modes, he's never deluded by the modes. And because he is manifest everywhere as the Paramatma, everything is known to him. He is the cause of everything, so nothing is impossible for him to be accomplished. Right? So they're talking about the qualities of manifestations of the Lord, right? So when they say that is beyond the modes, they're talking about the Brahman, always undiluted, talking about the Brahman. Everything is known to him, they're talking about the Paramatma. He is the cause of everything, they're talking about the Bhagavan, right? So essentially, what is the point that the Devas are making? That you know everything, so you know our situation. So at this point, they are correlating the glorification to their specific situation. Earlier on, they were glorifying the Lord in absolute terms. They were simply glorifying the Lord because of the qualities that he has. Now that they have put in their ask, the glories that they are recounting, while they are factual, they're also a way for the devas to say to the Lord that because of these reasons we have come to you, because of these reasons we expect you to help us, right? So they say that you know everything. As Paramatma, you know everything, so you know exactly why we have come to you. Then they say you're never bewildered. So what is the possible bewilderment over here? The ones that have been implicitly addressed in the previous verses, that why should I be partial towards the devas? Why should I enter into the duality of material victory and distress? Why should I kill and protect in this material conception? So they're saying you're not bewildered by this, because that is the right thing to do. Then they say you're all powerful, which means that for the devas, killing Vritrasur is impossible, not for the Lord. Right? Then the fourth point they made is all the creation, including the jivas, are his emanations. Right? So the devas are now making this point that if the asuras headed by Vritrasur take over the universe, then they will put the jivas into trouble. So it's not for themselves only that the devas are asking for this protection, but for his other emanations also. They are asking for this protection. Right? So the fifth point they're saying, therefore, my Lord, you should help. Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he notes that in this statement by the Lord, one can also see an implicit apology. In the statement by the devas, one can also see that there is an implicit apology by them, right? So when the devas say that you know everything, then Prabhupada makes this point that the devas are also acknowledging the fact that the Lord knows of the material desires in their heart. And the devas know that the only thing that the pure devotees ask the Lord is for service. Whereas the devas are actually asking the Lord for service. And as the third point he makes is that a pure devotee is satisfied with whatever comes by the mercy of the Lord. Right. So the devas in making this statement that you know everything, so you know that we are uh, materialistic devotees, right? And you are never bewildered, which means that you will also distill the faults that we have and accept our prayers. The devas say we know that we should be satisfied with whatever comes by your mercy, but you are all powerful and all the creation are your emanations, and they deserve your protection, right? So later on the devas will be more explicit about it, but here we see that one may, the devas are addressing, one may say that in the earlier part of the prayers, the devas are rendering beautiful glories of the Lord. So one might say, why would at one point they acknowledge the greatness of the Lord, and then just a few verses later on, they are now demanding service from the Lord? Right? So Prabhupada says that they are aware of this. They're helpless about it. And that is why they're also apologizing for it. So Prabhupada says that while informing the Lord about their distress in being attacked by Vritrasur, the demigods apologize for offering prayers for the safety. A neophyte devotee, of course, approaches the Lord for relief from distress or poverty, or for or speculative knowledge. Right? Prabhupada, of course, the famous 716 Bhagavad Gita, Chaturveda bhajante mam ye jana paryapasate artho artharthi jagyasu jnani cha bharatarshava. Right? So it talks about the Mishra Bhaktas over here. Okay, moving on to verse 43. Dear Lord, you are omniscient, and therefore you know very well why we have taken shelter at your lotus feet, which provides shade that gives relief from all material disturbances. Since you are the Supreme Spiritual Master and you know everything, we have sought shelter of your lotus feet for instruction. Please give us relief by counteracting our present distress. Your lotus feet are the only shelter for a fully surrendered devotee and are the only means for subduing all the tribulations of this material world. So Prabhupada says that this is the glory of the Devas, that even though they are driven by material desires, but where are they being driven by the material desires? To the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Yena tena prakarena na Krishna mana niveshaya. Right? So the Lord is very appreciative of this also. And so one must not think that because I have material desires, I have no business to execute devotional service. So in the Bhagavatam, the point is made sakama, akama sarvakama vi mokshayami. So whether you're akam without desires, sakam full of desires, mokshami desiring liberations, tivrena bhakti yogena. Like if you perform devotional, if you approach the Lord, then your bhakti will increase tremendously. Right? So we see this mood of the devas when they say the Lord that you have you're omniscient. They're saying that externally we may be coming to you for material relief. Externally we may be trying to engage you in our service, but they say you know everything. You know what is going on in our hearts, right? Because the devas are naturally devotees. So whenever they are in distress, they naturally take shelter of the Lord. Right? That's why they're echoing this mood that your Lord, your lotus feet are the only shelter for a fully surrendered devotees. Your lotus feet is the only means for subduing all the tribulations of this material world. So Prabhupada writes that one need only seek shelter of the shade of the Lord's lotus feet. Then all the material tribulations that disturb him will be subdued. Just as one comes under the shadow of a big tree, the disturbances caused by the heat of scorching sun are immediately mitigated without one asking for relief. Therefore, the whole concern of the conditioned soul should be the lotus feet of the Lord. The conditioned soul suffering from various tribulations because of existing in this material world can be relieved only when he seeks shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. So this is the reason the Vritrasur pastime is so famous, because it has all these nuances that reflect the mentality of a devotee in different stages of development. Right? We see the devas over here who are Mishra Bhaktas and fully self-cognizant. right? They are not deluded. They don't think that they are pure devotees and um, are righteous in their ask. On the other hand, they also do not think that they are not devotees, right? So they're very cognizant of their position, and they're philosophically also explaining it for our benefit, and of course, to glorify the the Lord. And later on, we will see a character study of Vritrasur. We'll see a character study of uh, Vritrasur in his previous life, and we see how the dial moves. The spiritual dial moves, sometimes resonating with the material dial, and sometimes actually um, in a different direction. And sometimes the material dial, which moves from mode of ignorance, passion to ignorance to goodness, and the spiritual dial also increases commensurately for growing bhakti, which is the general path. Right? But sometimes we see that it also moves in different directions. That the material dial is moving from the mode of goodness to ignorance, but the spiritual dial is moving from the mode of mixed devotion to pure devotion. And all these are valuable lessons that are made through this pastime. Okay, verse 44. अथो ईशा जयित्वास्त्रं कृशन्तं भुवनत्रयं ग्रस्तानि येन न कृष्ण तेजांसि अस्त्रायुधानि च. Therefore, O Lord, O Supreme Controller, O Lord Krishna, please annihilate this dangerous demon, Vritrasur, Twasta's son, who has already swallowed all our weapons, our paraphernalia for fighting, and our strength and influence. So, this is a very interesting verse because, as for Vishwanath Chakravarti, the Devas, uh, they are aware of the Bhaktavatsal Bhav of the Lord. Right? So we see the Devas are actually often very apprehensive of this Bhaktavatsal Bhav. In the pastime of Krishna, when Kamsa was driving the chariot for Vasudev and Devaki, then the Devas were the one who spoke from the sky, saying that the eighth son of your Devaki is going to kill you, because they were concerned that when Krishna sees Kamsa rendering service to his pure devotees, and so Devaki and Vasudev, the father and mother, or the eternal parents of Lord Vishnu, uh, uh, we see Kamsa serving them, and because the Lord is very favorable to those who serve his devotees, the Devas became apprehensive that because of that Bhakta Vatsalya Bhav, then Krishna might say, it's okay, no need to kill Kamsa, right? And then Kamsa would continue with his demonic activities. Later on also we see the same thing, that when Vasudev goes with the firstborn child to Kamsa, and Kamsa is very magnanimous at the time. And he says, I have no quarrel with your firstborn born son. I am only concerned with the eighth born. So go back. And until that time, actually, Vasudeva and Devaki were living in a palace. It was a guarded palace, but nevertheless, they were living in a palace with relative opulence and freedom. So when Kamsa asked Vasudeva to go back, and Vasudeva went back with the child to Devaki, and Devaki in Vatsalya Bhav, as a mother, she became so grateful to Kamsa that she started giving him all these benedictions, and she started giving all this, saying all these nice things about Kamsa. And the Devas were terrified once again that what will happen now when if Krishna, he also becomes swayed by all these benedictions by Vasudeva and Devaki and says, okay, Kamsa, you're okay. So that's why they immediately send Narad over. And then Narad goes and he reminds Kamsa of his previous birth as Kalnemi, and how Vishnu killed him, and then how the devas have taken birth in the Yadu Vamshas, and how the devas are very crooked. And he put all kinds of thoughts that you don't know who the eighth son is, the first son may be the eighth, and etc., etc. And Kamsa becomes completely bewildered by Narad, and he immediately calls back, kills the son, and decides to imprison them. Because again, the devas did not want that mood of the Lord to protect Kamsa. Here, Vishwanath Chakravarti says that the devas are apprehensive that the Lord, being pleased by the prayers that the devas have given, the Lord might say that I'm pleased by your prayers, I award you pure devotional service. So the devas knew that if they got awarded Shuddha Bhakti, then they would lose all this material duality. They would lose all this attachment, because Indra was attached to his opulences, the devas were attached to their positions in the Swarga. They would lose all that. And what would be the result of that? That the asuras headed by Vritrasur would essentially walk in unchallenged and take over the dominion of the three worlds. So the devas, they want to make it clear that the only thing they are asking for is bhukti. They are not asking for bhakti. They are not asking for mukti. But specifically they say that please kill Vritrasur. Because it is said atho. Atho means that based on what we have said so far, we are therefore asking you this and nothing else. We are not asking for Shuddha Bhakti, not asking for any other kinds of favors. Only one thing we are asking is kill Vritrasur. Srila Prabhupada presents another way to understand this, that in this mood of helplessness, the mood of dependency in the devas became so strong that they practically became pure devotees. However, they still had anarthas. Right? That anartha is what is caused this mood to change. So the nature of bhakti is that it creates more bhakti. So Prabhupada says that the devas are praying to the Lord, they're experiencing helplessness, they're completely taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. These are all the qualities of pure devotees. But the devas also have material desires. And so Prabhupada talks about, so we know, like in the Nectar of Devotion, it's mentioned that because of the presence of anarthas, bhakti, depending on the amount of anarthas, the bhakti could be chapal. So chapal means that sometimes it is there and sometimes it is not. Right? This is in the earlier stages. This is at the stage where we are, that maybe when we are in the temple, the mood is strong. Maybe when we are in the presence of Guru Maharaj or in the presence of practicing devotees, the mood is strong. And then later on, maybe it may become weaker. It comes and goes because the anarthas are there. When the anarthas become weaker, then it becomes flickering. So flickering is like chapal is like if you have a bulb and the bulb comes off and on. Sometimes you have those bulbs, right? That especially during marriages and all that, the bulb lights up and then it switches off. Lights up, switches off. Right. So that is the chapal bhakti. It is there and it is not there. Flickering is that the bulb is always on, but sometimes it is brighter and sometimes it is dimmer. Right? So the light is always there. So these are more advanced devotees where the anarthas have become weakened. So the bhakti is always there, but under some situations it is very strong. And some situation it becomes weaker. And then finally there is the state when the anarthas are gone, then it is steady, sthayi. That regardless of whatever happens, the light is steady. And so Prabhupada says that the devas are in the state where the bhakti is still not steady. There is still anarthas there. Prabhupada writes that when the demigods are utterly helpless, they approach the Lord. In grief with tears in their eyes, praying to the Lord, and thus they became almost pure devotees, free from material desires. Admitting that they had forgotten pure devotional service because of extensive material opportunities, they fully surrendered to the Lord, leaving to his consideration whether to maintain them or annihilate them. Such surrender is necessary. Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Marabi Rakabi Yo Ichatwara. O Lord, I fully surrender unto your lotus feet. Now, as you desire, you may protect me or annihilate me. You have the full right to do either. Right? So that's the mood of pure devotee. But the devas, they moved away from that mood. Right? They had that mood, but now they are saying that not that you protect us or annihilate us. We are specifically asking you to protect us. Right? So the Mishra portion of the bhakti reasserts itself. Okay, verse 45. Hamshaya Hamshaya Dahara Nilayaya Nirikshaya Krishnaya Mrishtha Yasasya Nirupkramaya Satsangraya Bhavapantha Nijashramatpa Ante Parishtha Gataye Hare Namaste. So this is the last verse in the prayers. So the devas kind of summarize everything that they have said in this verse. So they say, O Lord, O Supreme Pure, you live within the core of everyone's heart and observe all the desires and activities of the conditioned soul. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Lord Krishna, your reputation is bright and illuminating. You have no beginning, for you are the beginning of everything. This is understood by pure devotees because you are easily accessible to the pure and truthful. When the conditioned souls are liberated and sheltered at your lotus feet, after roving through the material world for many millions of years, they attain the high success of life. Therefore, O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we offer a respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. Right? So everything that they have said, they have already spoken in the past, right? So this is a summation, and repetition is an ornament in these things, right? So when there is something extraordinary being said, then repetition is an ornament. However, here the repetition is in the context of the previous verse, right? So everything that the devas had spoken in the past, that was to glorify the Lord. So that is the mood of pure devotees. However, the devas, they're anxious to make this point that they are not pure devotees. They are not approaching the Lord in the mood of pure devotees. Right? So the glorification in this is in the context of that please kill Vritrasur. And please kill Vritrasur because you live in the course of everybody's heart, etc. So all the glorification they are saying. So it's like somebody saying to the Lord, you're great, you're powerful, you're compassionate, please give me $1 million. Right? So all the qualities of the Lord are factual, they're rendered with feeling, but the ask is material. Right? So devas are anxious to make sure that there is no ambiguity, that they're asking for pure devotion, They are saying that all this glorification that we did, that you have no beginning and your Paramatma, etc., is for this one ask that we are placing before you. Please kill Vritrasur. So some of the other points made in this verse is the uh, so let's see, where is it said? So the Lord is glorified as Hamsaya Dahar Nilayaya, right? So Hamsaya, Prabhupada translates as the most exalted and pure. So uh, uh, the metaphor is that the Lord is like a swan swimming in the lake of the heart of everyone, right? So Vishnu Chakravarti kind of expands on that metaphor, saying that the devas are praying to the Lord that Hamsaya the Har Nilyaya, that O Lord, you as a swan that is residing in the lake of our hearts, then Nirakshaya. So Nirakshaya means that you are closely witnessing the innermost desires, right? So what are the, they were saying, what is the innermost desires? That we genuinely are taking shelter of your feet because of the position that you have, but also we lack the purity to become pure devotees. So you know both these aspects. We are devotees, we also have material desires, and we do not have desires to become pure devotees. So then the devas say that Mrishtha Yashase. So Mrishtha Yashase is glorification of the Lord for delivering one from the greatest fear. And so they are saying that you deliver one from the greatest fear, which for a pure devotee, what is the greatest fear? Separation from the Lord or his devotees. But the devas are saying for us that the greatest fear is Vritrasur. So that's what we want you to do. Kill Vritrasur. And Nirupkramaya. Nirupkramaya means that it's not a big deal for you. So if you look at it, when somebody, so think of it this way, that you go to someone very rich and you ask for money. Maybe the person is a multimillionaire and you say, give me $100. Right? Now, if along with that $100, you say it's not a big deal for you, essentially, you're minimizing the actions of that person. Factually, yes, it's not a big deal for the person. He has $1,000,000, he can give $100. Right? But when you say that, oh yeah, but the statement you say, even if you give me $100, it's not a big deal for you. So you're minimizing the actions of the other person. Pure devotees do not have that mood. That even if the Lord moves a blade of grass for them, they are full of gratitude for the Lord. That forget about moving a blade of grass, even if the Lord sends tribulations to them, they're still full of gratitude for the Lord. But not the Mishra Bhaktas. The Mishra Bhaktas, because they have the mood of expecting service from the Lord, they have also this mood of trying to minimize that service. Like that, give me $1,000,000. You know, you're the wealthiest person in the universe. So $1,000,000 should not be too much for him. The third point they're making is Sat Sangraya. So Sat here, it refers to his devotees who are eternal. Sat Sangraya means that the Lord is famous for exerting to help his devotees. Right? So earlier on, the devas were talking about the material desires. Now they're talking about their spiritual qualifications. That you are famous for helping your devotees, not just your pure devotees, but all kinds of devotees. And we are there. We may not be Shuddh Bhaktas, but nevertheless we are Bhaktas. And you are Satsangraya. And so please have mercy on us. And then the fourth point that they make is Parishtagatiya. Parishtagatiya is again the Devas glorifying the Lord, that you award whatever goals that your supplicant asks for. So here again they're making it clear that your Parishthagataya means if somebody comes to you for spiritual advancement, you award him that. But because you are Parishthagataya, if somebody comes to you for material advancement, you will also award him that. So we are coming to you for material relief. Please deliver us from that. Now, another interesting point here is that in the second line of the verse, the Deva says Krishnaya, Mishta Yashase. Right? Now, factually, the Devas are not praying to Krishna. They are praying to Lord Vishnu, because the Devas don't have access to Krishna. Well, typically, even though it's not specifically said here, but typically they go to Shuddha Vishnu. They go to on the banks of the Kshiv Sagar, and there they render these prayers. So the prayers are addressed to Lord Vishnu, and uh, uh, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, commenting on this, says that this indicates a state of confusion in the mind of the devas, that because they are so bewildered out of fear of Vritrasur, that instead of addressing Vishnu as Lord Vishnu, they're addressing him as Krishna. Srila Prabhupada notes that there's no fault, because Vishnu and Krishna are not different, right? And he quotes Brahma Samhita, Diparichirya Vahita Santana Upetya. Right? Krishna is the candle that lights the other candles. So all the Vishnus are as if they are Krishna. Okay. Okay, so I'll pause over here. I actually am at a logical break, because after this we will see the instructions by the Lord to the devas. So we can take any discussions or comments for a few minutes.
Yeah, Prabhu. Just a reflection and clarification here. Basically, this is with the free will versus divine intervention, where a devotee's surrender invites the divine protection, but free will determines the depth of the what surrender he carries. So, how can one cultivate the level of devotion that transcends the karma?
So if I have to understand your question, Prabhu, you're saying that how can one be at a level of devotion where they don't ask the Lord for anything, or they don't
Yeah,
ask the Lord for anything material?
yeah, where we can overtake the karma as well. Like basically, what we are doing is part and partial of karma, what we have sown before. Right?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a good question. So we can look at it from a more analytical perspective, that as long as we have anarthas, our asks will always have material contamination. The nature of anarthas is that it attracts us towards material existence, material enjoyment, whether it's mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. That's the nature of anartha. Now, how do you become nivritt of anarthas? We become by strictly following the rules and regulations of Sadhana Bhakti. So this is how we gradually become free of material desires. So because they're within us, Prabhupada at one point gives this example that a person who's possessed by ghosts, By himself, he cannot expunge the ghost. He can't say, ghost, leave my body, because the ghost has already taken over his mind. The only way that he can be expunged by ghosts is that somebody else comes and tells him that do X, Y, Z. He does that, and that will eventually, the process is bona fide. The ghost goes away. So similarly, the guru comes and tells the practicing devotee, you do this, 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 this. And while they're contaminated by anarthas, just by following the instructions of the guru, they gradually become nivrit of anarthas. And anartha nivritti is actually it's actually the fulcrum between material and spiritual existence, right? So till the time the person has anarthas, bhakti is an uphill battle. Everything is fighting against gravity. And once the person crosses over anartha nivritti, bhakti is a downhill path. That actually, at the stage of beyond anartha, then the just like a person is running down the hill, they actually try to slow themselves down because gravity is acting on them. So at that stage, the devotees are actually trying to contain their bhakti because they're still in the material world, but the forces of bhakti have become stronger and stronger. So they're actually fighting it to stay cogent within this material world. So big part of that is by following the is by following the rules and regulations. Um, from a practical perspective, developing this consciousness that is given in the first verse of Isopnisha, the Ishavasyavidam Sarvam Yatkinch Jagatam Jagat, right? That um, uh, whether the devotee is working at office, at home, driving the car, if they're somehow or the else they're able to connect it to bhakti, that I'm working so that I can get money, I can take care of my family, and I can help them make advancement. I can give donation to the temple. Somehow, there's one is able to always draw this relationship between their activities and their spiritual advancement. That's the Ishavasya
Mhm.
consciousness, and that is the way practicing devotees practice the platform of pure devotion. It's not there, but by developing this consciousness, they practice that platform.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we will end over here. Thank you very much. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनाम पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद की जय। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय।